For millions of years, Hawaii was only inhabited by plants and animals. Our uniquely isolated islands are home to hundreds of species found nowhere else in the world. The critically endangered Hawaiian monk seal is just one example of an animal species trying to hold on while humans struggle to adapt. If we do not overcome our shortcomings, more Hawaiian birds, plants, and mammals will become extinct. This is not a legacy we should pass on to future generations. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, is trying to help.
Hawaiian monk seals they're only found in Hawaii. There were 3 species of monk seals, the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and the Hawaiian monk seal. The Caribbean monk seal is extinct. The Mediterranean has only about 500 animals left, and the Hawaiian monk seal is down to about 1,100 individuals. It's in a decline that's been going on for several decades, but the decline is slowing down a little bit, but the numbers are still declining. So they're the most endangered marine mammal that is found entirely in U.S. water. So we don't share the responsibility for recovery with anybody else. It's only the U.S.
One factor in most Hawaiian species extinctions is us. We can take much of the credit. Our unawareness and stubbornness is big. For example, some folks think the monk seal was never part of the main islands. Hello?
Monk seals can easily swim. We have a female that came from she was born on Midway. She came down and she pupped on South Point on the Big Island, and has been living in the main Hawaiian Islands since then, and has had a number of pups. I believe this year she has just had a pup kind of over by Eva. And there is some evidence of monk seals in the main islands. It's just not, there's not very much of it. And so it's understandable that they're not as pervasive in the stories and the culture the way that turtles are, but that doesn't necessarily mean they weren't ever down here.
There are many documented accounts of monk seals being hunted in the northwestern and main Hawaiian Islands. Captain's logs of the 19th century hold many entries of seals being taken for meat, skin, and oil.
Now, the population is almost entirely seals that have been born here. So there's not a kind of mass migration from the northwestern Hawaiian Islands. It's that the seals that are born here are surviving. And so they're surviving to have their own pups. And so we're seeing what you would call sort of a natural population growth, that it's seals that are born here, they survive, they grow up, they have their own pups. So there's very, very few seals that were born in the Northwesterns. It's all sort of now our own little native population.
As a species, one peculiar tendency we have is to blame government when things go bad and then turn a blind eye or deaf ears when things go good.
But in order for the species to be recovered, it actually is going to take communities and take people other than just sort of us in a small office deciding that we're going to do something, because we do need, in order for monk seals to persist and find a place where they can coexist with people, there are some things that NOAA can do, but mostly it's the public and other organizations.
Humans have the potential to do great things. We have the capacity to adapt. In Hawaii, more of us can learn to change our attitude towards nature. By doing this, we can find balance and begin the important job of saving our unique natural resources. And yes, the Hawaiian monk seal is definitely a natural resource.
Monk seals are really smart, and so we'll have a lot of situations where they'll decide, people aren't awful, I will come up on shore, it's okay if there are other humans on the beach, I'm just going to rest. And that's not something that we're terribly concerned about. What starts to get concerning is when they're not just tolerating people, but when they're actually seeking out humans for one reason or another. Usually it's for food or for social interaction. So the biggest things people can do to sort of help keep the seals wild and help keep people safe is to never feed seals. You're never going to fill them up. All you're going to do is teach them that people mean food, and to not purposefully swim or try to interact or play with seals.